Yeah, probably disappointed. It'd be a easy opening statement. I didn't know what we'd do, and I thought we started out like I hope not to, but I thought that's the way it was. And I give us a lot of credit that we fought back and cut it to 4. And, after shooting terrible and turning the ball over so much, if I told you what the keys to the game were, that was one, not giving up any missed free throws. They only got 11 and they didn't miss many. But offensively, Josh had some great looks. He was 1 for 8. Malik had some great looks. He was 1 for 6. And, we just, they did a good job defensively. We did a poor job, but you have 33 points off turnovers. That's a big part of the game. You have 21 turnovers. And even coming out of halftime, first 3 possessions were turnover. So we didn't do a very good job, and that falls on me.
Our first question comes from Chris Solari.
Tom, that was actually the thing that I was going to ask you about, those 2 5-minute stretches of start to halves. Just kind of sloppy. I mean, is that rust from not having game competition and kind of maybe the body forgetting what you need to do certain times?
No, I don't think so. I thought Aaron in a couple of huddles said it best. He said, there's no excuse for the turnovers. There's no excuse. I mean, our defense wasn't great, but it probably wasn't bad when you think about they only scored 67 points with 100 turnovers. And there's no excuse to just dribble it in and pass it to a guy. And I thought they brought a little more energy. I thought we had one of our best shoot-arounds today. I thought we had a good practice yesterday. I'm sure we have a little COVID hangover. I understand that, but that will not be an excuse for the way we played. That would be a good excuse for losing a game, but not the way we played.
As a follow, how do you approach this game moving ahead? I mean, do you kind of bury it? Do you focus in on it? Harp on it? I mean,
you want me to give you a Mike Krzyzewski answer on a question like that? I mean, I haven't even looked at the film yet, so I won't do that. I really don't care about the next game. I to be perfectly honest with you, all I want to do is get back to the hotel and take a look at the film and figure out were the turnovers as ridiculous as I thought, or was the defense better than I thought? But we did not have the energy. I thought we had more energy in practice yesterday, which was only our third practice, with the up and down than we had tonight. And, so frustration sets in, and then you start making even worse plays. But, I'll worry about the next game tomorrow. I'm going to worry about this game and see if I can figure out why my key guys. I mean, I think Aaron had 6, and Rocket had 3, and I think Foster had 3, and I think I don't know. I think my 4 guards between them had 15 or 16 turnovers, and I can't give all the credit to Rutgers, but I can give them more than their share of credit because they played awfully well. First time ever, they went 9 for 11 from the free throw line. They played well. We played poorly.
Up next, Matt Charbonneau.
Tom, I feel like there's a lot of things we can look at and try and dissect and everything here and wonder why it happened. But the shooting specifically, a lot of good open looks at times tonight. I mean, it might be simple to say that's because you haven't had a lot of time in the gym, but is it hard to kind of pinpoint why so many of those open looks you just weren't making shots?
Well, I swear to you, Matt, I mean, that's the best question I've had because I'm the two things that I really felt like we weren't great defensively, but we weren't bad. I mean, they shot 43 and 26. I mean, considering all the layups they got off turnovers, that's probably not bad. Josh, I probably played him too many minutes. That was my fault. I didn't know if I could play him at all, and he felt not very good 2 days ago, but yesterday he felt a lot better, and he was okay during the game as far as his wind and everything. But I can see where he missed some, but we had some other guys that just missed some wide open shots. You're right, especially the start of the second half. You hit a couple of those, and it changes the game. But we didn't, and then the game got away from us, and that's probably my fault, to be honest with you.
Up next, Lindsey Huddleston.
Hey, Tom, tough outing for sure. I'm sure every coach in America wants to know at the 16:41 mark, what did you say to your team when they were down 0-10 that ended up allowing you to have a salvageable first half when it was all said and done?
Like a true positive question. I appreciate that. I told them that we just got to get it one play at a time, because we were trying to get it back too fast. We were just playing a little bit out of control, and we weren't moving the ball from side to side. And we talked about it all week. I mean, Aaron went over it before the game and even after the game, said the same thing. We talked about it all week, that we got to move the ball because we didn't think they were as good defensively. They give up 45%. And but we just didn't move it. A lot of one-on-one. We didn't throw back. We didn't do the things that I thought we could do. Is it because some of those guys hadn't practiced at all? Is it because we just did a poor job? Or is it because, Rutgers played well? And Rutgers deserves some credit. Steve's a great coach, and they did a good job. So I just told them, hey, we get it back when, we had missed a couple layups. Thomas Kithier missed a layup. I think it was Rocket missed a wide open shot, and somebody else did. And I said, we're getting good enough shots. And then I thought we went into a stretch where we did move the ball better and got some shots, and we started making some, got our break going. Second half, we just reverted back to one-on-one play, and I think they took us out of the game, and give them credit for that.
Well, thank you.
Up next, Bob Wojnowski.
Hey there, Tom.
How you doing, Bob?
Good, thanks. You've had teams before and stretches before in the middle of a season that things have gone awry a little bit, and you've pulled it together always. But this is a unique season, obviously, a unique situation. How difficult will this one be to pull together, and are you confident you can do it?
I said last week when I kind of went off on everybody, because I don't think anybody realizes how hard it is during this pandemic, but I thought it was pretty apropos as we got on the bus today after our testing, and a couple guys came out and said, first time I ever saw it, they said, I'm not positive. And it makes me wonder, how much that's on some of their mind. But like I said, with Gabe out, with Josh out, with guys not being able to practice, with 8 guys, it's I just don't know, Bob, if that was the reason. That's why I said I want to look at the film, because I thought we did a lot of poor things, but turn the ball over and get 33 points off turnovers. That's fixable, because we won't do that again. So you're right. I've been here before. That's the nice thing about a long career. You've kind of gone through a lot of different phases. And but we got to get some guys playing a little better. Hauser's got to play better. Josh, we got to get him back healthy. And I thought Rocket, he had such a good couple days of practice. I thought he was going to play his best game when I watched him in warm-ups today, but it just and they got after him too. I mean, they got after Aaron, they got after him. Aaron's been he's been great, to be honest with you guys. He's taken blame, he's taken everything, and he was pretty bummed out after the game, but they're handling it well. I just the freshman point guard, we're not very solid there yet. We've got to keep working to get better at that. When you don't get the practice, you don't get better. And so for 20 days, we didn't get there. 16 days, we didn't get to do anything that would go up and down or give a guy a chance to read the defense or that. And sure, that hurt us some, but that's still not a reason that you turn the ball over like we did. That has nothing to do with that in my mind.
Thanks.
All right, we have two more questions. We'll start with Brendan Quinn.
Tom, you mentioned earlier frustration sets in and you start making worse plays.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
You said earlier when frustration sets in and then you start making worse plays. And that does seem that has kind of been a thing that has happened in games like this, right, where things just kind of compound. And I wonder with this group, what's kind of the dynamic of, I don't know, enforcing positive thinking at this point and just trying to, not let things snowball.
Yeah, that's a good point, and I think one of them, Joey not playing a year and Josh not playing for 2 years, and there's just things that get frustrating. I mean, Josh has spent so much time trying to come back, and I think he thought tonight, because he had a good day of practice yesterday, everything was going to be the norm and he could do what he could do, and that's just not the way it works. It wasn't his lack of effort, that's for sure. It was just lack of reps, and he's missed 2 years of it. So that's a little frustrating. And then when our, kind of somebody at the point to settle that down, I mean, we'll get there. I do think that we'll play better as we get back practicing a little bit, although there's not a lot of days to practice, especially the way the schedule is now going to be. But we won't play like this again as far as turning the ball over. I promise you that. So, those are the frustrating things that frustrate fans, frustrate coaches, frustrate players. But I'm trying to keep it all into perspective a little bit. And this was a wicked 20 days. Some people adjust to it. Just depends who your personnel is. But not being able to get, those young guards involved, and especially like Josh. He's not a young guard, but he's a guard that hasn't played for 2 years. So all of them are young and experienced as far as what's happened. And I think we showed that tonight. I mean, we just did not play very well at that position, any of the guard positions, and that's why you have those turnovers.
We'll go to Stephen Brooks and then wrap up with Chris Solari.
Hey, Tom, you mentioned this week that Marcus had shown you some things in these last couple weeks. Just curious of your evaluation of him tonight.
I thought Marcus, the first half, was our best player. He did some things that he needed to do, and he's been just great. I mean, I don't know if it was the haircut or what. I joked with him, but he's really, starting to do some things well, and I think that was encouraging. He didn't play quite as good the second half. I thought Malik Hall played really good the first half and struggled a little bit the second half. I could see everybody's kind of, go down a little bit, and that's pretty normal. But I don't know if it's as normal as it should be, because our leadership had to pick up then, and that includes me too, by the way. So, frustrating night for everybody, disappointing night, and yet I don't know what I expected. I told you guys I don't know what I would expect of the team. Now I know what, how we played, and now my job is to correct it, and we'll get it corrected. Bob's right. It'll happen. We're going to get it corrected. We're going to have to find guys that are just going to move the ball a little better on offense. That's what we got to really do a better job of.
Thank you.
Chris?
That actually goes into what I was going to ask you. How much did you need this as a baseline for these guys coming off that layoff to see how to push them with a couple games ahead? And also, without having Dane down the bench, how did you guys work that situation? Were you kind of running the guards more?
Yeah. I don't think that. I mean, no coach turns the ball over. Not me or them. I mean, players have to be accountable for what they do. Coaches have to be accountable for what they do. But I think baseline, God, I just don't know if missing the shots, I have a baseline. I think that was okay. I understand that. Not rebounding the ball, that has nothing to do with anything. Not cutting out. Guys are taking shots, balls bouncing back to them. I mean, maybe that's not playing for a while, but that's an instinct that a player should have. And I was disappointed in that. But just the passing and turnovers. And maybe as I talk to more coaches, maybe I got to be more understanding on that. Maybe that is part of it. There's not many people that go 20 days, but at the same time, nobody's going to feel sorry for you. And I'm sure not. And don't expect anybody out there to. So we just got to get back, watch the film, try to figure out, and then we'll get the game plan going for our next game. But it's going to be to play a lot harder. It's going to be play a lot smarter. It's going to be taking care of the ball. And those will be big keys. I mean, the offense, I loved what Aaron said in the huddle about 9 times, okay, we're not playing very well on the offensive end, but, it really was the defensive end or the rebounding. They only had, I don't know how many offensive rebounds they ended up with, 13, but they scored on a lot. They scored on a lot of offensive rebounds and they scored on a lot of turnovers, and that's easy ways to score. So, it really wasn't the defense as much as it wasn't finishing the job. And then at late, they started making threes and hit a few of those, and give them credit. I mean, like I said, I think Steve's one of the better coaches in this league, and he did a good job with his team. He's benched a couple guys. He's moved a couple guys around, and I think he got their attention. And, it wasn't that long ago. This was a top 10 or 15 team in the country. So not a surprise that they played well. They had a lot on the line, too, coming off a big win on the road. Little disappointing that we did not execute the things that I thought were keys that I think we could have. Bad shot or missing shots. There weren't even a lot of bad shots. Missing shots. Yeah, I can stomach that. I just can't stomach some of the other things. So that's what we'll try to fix.
All right, Coach. That's everything tonight. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.